Hello, it's Dr. Meyer coming to you from East Bay Disc Centers in Concord, California. I am sitting here with my patient Frank, who began care with us several months ago, and I'm going to ask him a few questions, but essentially he came in because he was having a flare-up, not too dissimilar from those that he tended to get 3 or 4 times a year over the last 15 years, with the exception that this one was not going away. It was lasting longer than the previous ones had, and he thought, I better go and do something about this. His cousin was a current patient and referred him in. And so I'm going to ask Frank, just tell us like what the experience was, what you felt in terms of tightness and how it affected you.
Sure. So, as you mentioned, for 15 plus years, I was getting this lot of tension, tightness in between the shoulder blades. And I would get those 3 to 4 times a year. They would last on average 2 to 3 weeks. And it would get pretty severe. A lot of pain inside the shoulder blades, would go up, sometimes feel like I had a pinched nerve in my neck, would also get tension that would go up my neck to the back side of my head. And when that occurred, that started to impact things like my focus and concentration for work, my comfort level, being in a chair for a good part of the day, given what I do is mainly at a desk. And as you said, once the last episode started going 6 plus weeks, did not show any signs of wanting to dissipate. And at that point, I knew I had to do something about it. And that's when I started doing my research and found out about you, and also found out that my cousin was a patient and obviously had very good things to say. And that led to the first appointment.
Okay. So you came in, and before I forget, I just do want to touch on, we talked earlier, and you did remind me that you were experiencing headaches and when the symptoms were bad, and to the point of needing to take, I think Advil is what you said. Doesn't matter what medication, but obviously we don't want people having to take meds, right? They're not like taking a vitamin or eating, broccoli. They're terrible for us. And the more we have to rely on them, the more we have a likelihood of bigger problems down the road. We always want to avoid that. So if we can find a natural way of providing care, that's critical. So you came in, we did the exam, we did some x-rays, we came back with those, we sat down and went over them, and we could see that there was some degeneration in the spine, telling us, well, of course there's a problem there. And whether it was from lifestyle things, the long hours of sitting, or things in the past, sports or injuries or anything else, the bottom line is that the spine was not withstanding all the forces that it had to incur on a daily basis. So things had moved along. We had to take some steps and we had to do something. So we did decompression with you. We wanted to restore those discs in the neck and therefore take pressure off of the spine and off of the nerves. So do you remember how quickly you felt relief when we began the care?
I do, because when we started treatment, I was still feeling that pain. So that 6 week plus episode that was not going away was very much still in play when I started treatment. So between the decompression sessions and the adjustments, I would say probably I was feeling relief within the first couple of sessions. And I would say within 2 weeks, I felt not only cured of what I was dealing with in the last episode, but starting to see signs of feeling better than I had in a long time.
Amazing. And so we went through a series of decompression sessions, and we also did the adjusting. We also had you on some vitamins specifically to help rebuild cartilage and manage pain and all. And so now we finished the decompression a good while ago. You're now a chiropractic patient, basically what I would call supportive care. Although we know the degree of change in your neck was substantial enough that 3 months or 6 months of care is really not adequate to restore it back to the way it should be. And when we have a full-grown adult, we're not typically going to take 30, 40 years um, off of their spine's life, right? But we want to improve it as much as possible, because if we don't, these problems are going to come back, and we do not want to let that happen. So it sounds like you have had very few, if any, headaches since we did the decompression. That's accurate?
Yeah, and I would add to that I think the comment I was finding myself making the most several months into the treatment was I had felt better than I had in probably over 15 years. The best analogy I could give, I feel like I had been looking through a dirty windshield and somebody finally cleaned it. And so it's not only the headaches, but just my general comfort. My body felt much stronger, more flexible, and I have not. It's probably it's probably been over 8 months now that we've been doing this, and I really have not had a single episode where in an 8 month time frame I probably would have seen at least two
Right.
flare-ups, and that that alone is worth what we did with those sessions. But when I take a step back and look at the other things, and not only did we cure something, but being able to feel much better than I had in a long time, that was a real added bonus.
That's fantastic. I'm so happy with that outcome. And now to be at the point where you just told me that you are starting a new exercise regimen, and just everything physically is moving in a direction that's very encouraging, and it says that in the years ahead, at this point, we would expect you're going to be in terrific shape, feeling great, your body functioning very well. We gave you a few tools here too, right? We made sure that you're sleeping on the right kind of pillow. We gave you a couple of things to do at home. Progressive exercises. We started out with one type, moved into another type. And you just reminded me at the beginning of this, and this is one of the longest videos we've done on this, but you had other things. You have one leg that is pretty substantially shorter than the other, and we know that there's some degeneration in the lower back. And so all of these things, and correct me if I'm wrong, are feeling pretty good now. When we address things like the feet and the arches and the difference in the leg lengths, we really can affect like huge change.
Yeah, and I think that was the other thing that really came through to me, is that it's not just showing up for the sessions here in the office, but the things I did outside of the office. So like you mentioned, changing my pillow. I was a big believer in vitamin and supplements before,
Mm-hmm.
but adding a few new ones in.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly the stretches. Doing those were a huge part of, I think, my comfort level. When I would feel a little bit of tightness in a certain area, those were really important. The orthotics to make up for the half-inch difference in my one leg.
Mm-hmm.
The way I sit at the desk, having lumbar support. I think all those things work
Combined
together.
Yeah.
And I think it's not something you can say, I just show up at an office and then I leave. It really, for me, became much more of a lifestyle change in addition to those treatments. And, certainly it's become clear to me that if I want this benefit to continue, I have to take more of that accountability myself from a lifestyle standpoint.
Yep. We can't eat one healthy meal a week and expect that, everything's going to be great, right? Okay. Any final words that you want to share? I sure appreciate everything here.
Sure. No, I would just say I knew for a long time that I needed to get in and see a good chiropractor. Probably part of my waiting was really trying to make sure I could find the right one. Certainly, Dr. Meyer and I are very much believers in not relying on medications or surgery, and finding more natural ways to heal and cure things. And for me, it was a great fit. If you're waiting, don't wait any longer. There's some real options here that can help you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Frank. Really appreciate it.